Hello, I'm Laura. You will see and hear me, but then you'll also hear my husband, who is off on the side. He will not be on the camera. Today we are answering questions to the video we posted, Journey of a Soul Part 1. This question actually came through our Facebook group that we have called Clearing, Healing, and Guidance. If you'd like to be a part of it, please log on to Facebook and request to be a part of the group. You could also post questions here on YouTube. We're fine with that as well. The question comes from Jackie. Jackie asks, if a woman had a miscarriage, does that mean the child and woman balanced their karma?
Wow. What a question. She has some really deep questions.
Yes, she does. Jackie is also a friend of ours, so if you hear my husband poking fun at her in any way, she understands, she knows us really well, okay?
What do you say?
I qualify that because some people might be like, Jackie, if she went ahead and asked questions and he was making fun of her, does he even know her? Yes, we do know her.
Making fun of her?
Or poking fun at her, whatever. I don't know how people will construe it.
That's called
Sometimes
love.
you mess with her.
That's love right there.
Yes, yes.
That's some serious love. That's love over many embodiments. How about that?
It is sisterly love. Even wifely love over embodiments. When I was not around, apparently.
Who knows? Never saw you there.
Oh, maybe I was there.
Maybe you were there. Probably a buddy right there.
Well, thank God in this life we're on the same spiritual level, so we're together.
That's right. Anyway.
Getting to the question now.
Right, about miscarriage.
Yes, does that mean that the child and woman balanced their karma?
You know what I'd like to do in a case like that is to address what causes a miscarriage. How about that?
Yes, that's a good question.
From the karmic standpoint, not from the medical standpoint. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to talk about fallopian tube and all that stuff. We're not interested in that.
Right.
Not that we're not interested, but that's not what this is about.
Right.
Besides, I'm not an expert at that. Anyway, not to say I'm an expert in karmic law either, by the way.
No, but...
I showed a little bit that I know. Anyway.
And then someone might come through and give information as well. Which is the part that...
Just keep hoping.
Well, not hoping, because it's happened before.
Okay.
We're recording, all of a sudden Jesus came through one time, Amoria came through once, Moses came through. So it's exciting to me.
People will think you're nuts.
I know.
Saying stuff like that. I would keep that to myself. I would not be saying that on a recording.
I'm saying it because I'm not the only one out there who believes it.
They're going to stop watching. Like, okay, let's stop watching this nut right here. She just talks some crazy stuff.
Okay, so getting back to the question at hand then.
Right.
What causes a miscarriage?
Well, there are many things that can cause it, right? Of course, karma is the main thing. It's all tied to karma.
Right.
And what the Journey of the Soul video probably is the one we talked about.
We talked a little bit about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So here we're just going to go through scenarios. None of them are proven. None of them are facts. Just scenarios. No what-if situations. How about that?
Okay,
I
that
hope
sounds
that works
good.
for everybody. Let's say, for example, in a previous life, and normally they're souls. There could even be soulmates. We've talked about that.
Yes.
Oh no. That's the video we didn't.
We didn't post that video.
Right.
We have to record and post that one.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so here are these two souls that have karma to balance because one came as a parent and the other one came as the child. And let's say, for example, in that embodiment, the soul that was the parent did something that wasn't very nice to the child, the one that was a child. Maybe didn't spend enough time with the child. You know, the child was neglected, left at home by him or herself, or really wasn't paid attention to in the sense that they're there but they're ignored. They just felt like the parent didn't care about that soul. It could also be that the soul was abused, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, whichever way. It could be that the soul was aborted, you know, so didn't make it through life at all, just aborted completely. And those are touchy issues, you know, but I hope that folks understand. I'm just trying to paint the picture here for them to understand how it works. And if any of this has happened to anyone that's watching the video, just know that it's not the end of the world. You know, everything can be worked on and
Help
balanced.
can be given.
Exactly. Okay, from
for all these different
the spiritual standpoint.
situations.
Exactly. Okay, we've seen that in many cases where individuals have been helped that have experienced some of these things. Anyway, so any one of these situations could have happened between the soul and the parent. They both pass away, or maybe just the soul passes away.
Which
Passes away. The child, let's say. So
Okay.
it's the child that passed away, right? The adult is still there. The parent is still on this earth plane.
okay,
So let's say, for example, the child was neglected, or like I said, whatever one of those things, situations were, and they chose, you know what, I'm done with this, I'm leaving. And they died at an early age.
okay,
So then they're gone. Or they were aborted, again, which was not that was not
So
their
what their
choice at that point.
choice,
Exactly.
right.
They return to heaven. And there again, there are different levels of heaven. So depending on what your level of karma is or what your level of spirituality is, that's where you wind up. That's why some people will say they died and they saw a gas station, or they saw their family members. It all depends on what your level of spirituality is, and that's what you'll see. Okay, you might see one of the angels. You might see Jesus. Who knows? Anyway, once they get up there, they get trained again, right? Because they've chosen to. And normally, when they die that way, they're going to re-embody. They're coming back. They'll say, "No, I want to go
Okay.
back because I want to get this straightened out." Again, that's your choice. You decide if you want to re-embody right now. If you want to wait 100 years, that's another thing. When a soul passes on, the soul decides when they're going to re-embody. Okay? You might be thinking, or folks out there might be thinking, that once you pass on, that you re-embody right away.
nope,
No. It doesn't happen that way. Some souls choose to wait in God's years, or in our years, like 50 years, right? Some maybe a year or two. Again, because of our free will, we make that decision. We decide when we're going to re-embody. From my experience though, I've seen that when a soul is aborted, or if they die suddenly, that they normally choose to re-embody almost immediately. Because I think that they want to just balance their karma as soon as possible. So in a case of a soul being aborted, the moment that soul is aborted, of course that soul feels hurt, feels rejected, because
Yes.
that soul chose this parent to be his or her parent in his lifetime. And they knew that that was a possibility, but of course they were hoping that it wouldn't happen so they could work on that karma. What happens then is, in some cases, and I'm not saying in every case, that individual, whether it's a male or female, might wind up in this lifetime where they're unable to have kids, because they need to go through the lesson of what it feels like to not have children, because they were given the opportunity to have kids and they chose refuse
to
it.
refuse it,
Exactly.
and then now later on they want to have a family, but they can't
They can't.
because of that choice of terminating a
Exactly.
pregnancy.
Right?
Okay,
And so that's why somebody might look at a nice couple and say, it's a shame that God doesn't bless them with kids.
yes, it happens a lot.
But they don't know the choices that were made by one or both of those individuals in a previous lifetime. And now, I'm not saying that in every case that's what it is.
Right, I'm just saying
that's
this
a
is an
possibility.
example.
Exactly. Another one is where the child, the soul that was aborted, will choose to come back to that same parent. So let's say it's a mother, right?
Right,
She'll choose, or he or she will choose to come, that soul will choose to come back to that same family, the same mother or same father. And then pull away at the last minute. That's when you have the stillborn or the miscarriage.
oh,
Now, why is that? Why do you think the soul would do that?
so that the mother could experience the pain that the child went through from being aborted.
Exactly. So-
Okay.
And that way, their karma is balanced between the mother and the child. Because now, if the mother chose that option, because sometimes, not necessarily, sometimes the mom is forced to do that, right? And in that case, it's handled differently. Because yes, she has the final say, but there are cases where so much pressure is put on the female that she feels like she doesn't have a choice.
Right.
So, and all those things are taken into consideration. Exactly. So it's not like you had an abortion, so you're going to punish. No. The degree of the karma is also different based on the situation that the individual was experiencing at the time. So let's say the father or the male figure, whether it's a father or not, force this on the female, then the father is going to go through something where he has to experience the similar pain.
Wow.
Right? So that's one example of what could cause a miscarriage, where the soul just goes, comes back, so this individual can experience that.
Okay.
Because in the past, they rejected that soul.
Okay.
Now, it could also be where the soul that the mother or father, the parents, did nothing wrong, right? So it's not so much about karma balancing, it's more about the soul deciding this is not the right time. Going back to thou shalt not steal. Right, so the soul decided initially, I'd like this couple to be my parents. And everything is worked out and the mom gets pregnant, right?
Right.
They're all excited. Well, maybe the mom's excited about the baby. I'll put it that way, because normally the mom will be excited because they're the ones that got pregnant, right?
Right.
And then the father is like, wait a minute.
I don't think
What
I'm
are you
ready
talking
for
about?
it.
Exactly. Do you see the situation that we're in? You know how much expenses we have already? We can't afford this. Guess what? The soul hears that. The soul can see what's going on. And that's the part that we as human beings, because we always go back to, I have to see to believe it.
Yes.
We think that the soul is not there. All right? Remember, the soul is around already. The moment that the soul chooses somebody as a parent, they're already in the environment. They're looking. They're experiencing it already. So the more that conversation takes place, where it's hammered over and over that this is not a good idea, the timing is bad, how could you do this? You tricked me. I'm going by what I see in movies in the past, right?
Okay.
Where,
I'm like, where are you getting some of this from?
well, because they always seem to blame the female.
Yes, they
And
do.
that's a shame, right? The female is the one that gets pregnant. She's the one that has to go through this stuff for 9 months.
Sometimes a
And
little
yet
longer.
still, she gets blamed for it. The last time I checked,
It takes two.
normally, right? Now they have test tube things.
Well,
but,
yes.
But that's not how it normally takes place. It takes more than one person. And then the other part is, she can't force the male to impregnate her. He has to decide to do it. So why would he get mad at her? He had to do something. But that's not how they see it. So then she's blamed for everything, and as she starts to feel guilty, the soul looks at this situation and says, I changed my mind, this is not a good idea. Maybe I'll try it some other time, but right now, it's not good. Then guess what? They pull out of the deal. And they're allowed to do that, they have free will. And I would assume that in heaven, they're told, well, if you don't think it's a good idea, we see what's going on, you're right, you have the right to pull out. Pulls out, and then the mom has a miscarriage. Now, if you notice, the mom didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
It's just that the environment was not deemed, or was deemed unsuitable by the soul. And the soul just says, maybe I'll try a different family, or I'll try in a couple of years or 6 months. And you'll see where someone might have a miscarriage, then 6 months later, they're expecting again. And more than likely it's the same soul, just because the soul sees that conditions have changed, have improved, and maybe the timing is better.
Because I know women who've had 2 or 3 miscarriages in a row, like a year apart, 2 years apart, and I often wondered, why are they having so many miscarriages in between having children? And I never stopped to think, well, could it be that soul, or those souls, if there's more than one, are looking at that family situation and deciding, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't go right now, the timing doesn't seem right, I should hold off. And then
Go ahead.
the women, the men too, get really sad, and then I've seen even some people memorialize the whole thing, you know, and
Yes,
they don't want to let go because they don't know, of course.
That's correct.
You know, and that's, to me, it could be a sad thing. I don't see it as that sad, but
But it is a sad thing.
it is a sad thing for them,
right?
right? But, you know, I just want to step in and say, you know what, let go, because that child decided not to be born, and there are reasons for it. You just don't know what they are.
Just prepare for the next one.
Right.
Really, is the way it should be. But it's tough if you don't understand the laws of karma and you don't accept the law. You could have been exposed to it, the laws of karma, but if you don't accept them or think that they're real, like some people might say gravity is not real, then
That example again.
it's my favorite example, then you'll have a hard time with it. Not saying that when someone has a miscarriage, I think it's sad. You know, as Jackie asked about, well, can you get sad? Of course. I don't think I get sad, but you know, you kind of feel for whomever it is,
Right.
a bit, because you look at their human side, and then you just hope that they might perk up and say, okay, that's done, but God has something better in store for me. Because really, that's what normally happens. One thing might happen, but the question you should ask is, now why did that happen? What lesson do I have to learn from this? And that's how that's how you should deal with challenges, you know? What lesson is in this for me? Why did this happen? Why did I experience this? And when you can do that, and just put it out there, like we talked about before, just put it out there as a challenge, right? And say, here's this Father, Mother, Universe, God, whatever you want
Whatever
to
you want to call it.
This is your thing to handle. I know you'll find a solution for me, so tell me how this will help me. Tell me how this is supposed to improve my life, and you'll get the answer. But now you won't get the answer if you keep feeling sorry for yourself, you're crying all the time, and you're all depressed. It won't work because the frequency is low, so then you get those attachments, and their job is to keep you there.
To prevent you from...
Exactly. Their job is to keep you as low as possible. So you question yourself and feel bad about yourself and put yourself down, and that's why they're there.
Okay. I think that answers the question about if their karma is balanced. So thank you very much for the question. If you have any comments or questions, please be sure to leave them below. Also, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video with others who you think might require the knowledge that has been imparted. And we'll see you again.